Good afternoon and welcome to Let's Talk Hoops, episode 2. I have two of my good friends joining me today, and we're going to talk a little NBA. We're going to kind of talk about what's going on with the season so far. We're going to make some projections. I got Boynk and EB here with me. What's up, Boynk? How you doing?
Thanks for having me on, man.
What's up, EB?
How y'all doing? What's up, fellas?
Oh, man, it's great to have you all, you guys back. I actually wanted to debut the show with you all, but with Boynk's crazy work schedule, it's like, nah. But we're here.
Just trying to keep the people safe.
Yeah, what are you, in the Navy or something?
Yeah, right.
Salute to the veterans, man. We appreciate all that you do. So the first topic that I want to talk about is something that just kind of happened the last day or two. It's the national anthem piece in Dallas. So for Dallas home games, the Mavericks have not played the national anthem before games, but they also haven't had fans. And Mark Cuban gave a statement to the Athletic saying that, hey, we're not going to play the anthem. Our players feel like it's not representative of them and who they are, so he doesn't want he's not going to have the anthem played anymore. But then today, the league came back and said that all teams will play the national anthem before the game. So I understand why, on different fronts, why the team may feel like the anthem does not represent who they are. Just from some of the stuff as far as race that's going on in this country. If you do a full deep dive into the full Star Spangled Banner, you see some of the other words that we don't sing in that anthem. I can understand why, as a black person, a person of color, you would not feel that this song is embodies who you are and represents who you are. But then also the NBA has become so international that it's like, hey, the faith of your franchise is Slovenian. Do you think he really cares about the Star Spangled Banner before the game? Like, why is he pledging allegiance to a country that he's not even a citizen of, essentially? So from that side, I understand what Mark Cuban is doing, but I also understand the league saying this is America, and we're going to pay homage to America, and we're also going to use this as a moment to, I don't know, it allows you to show off color guards and promote the military, and you know how much money the Department of Defense spends in the NFL just to raise awareness. So I can see both sides of it, but essentially, I fall with Mark Cuban because I don't really think it's that serious. We're not singing the national anthem before any other job in America. What are your thoughts, Boynk?
Yeah, I mean, I think people have always taken the anthem issue and made it either something that it's not, or B, a bigger deal than it is. I mean, I like Mark Cuban. I like what he's done. You know, he's actually one of the few owners that listens to his players and is kind of in touch with what's going on around the country. But I mean, like, if people want to kneel during it or you know, protest social injustice, like, they obviously have that right to do so, and I don't think that harms anybody. I personally don't feel offended, even being, like, you know, a member of the military. Like, that's one of the reasons why I think we fight, is to have that option to protest and or you know, fight social injustice.
What about you, EB?
Yeah, I gotta agree with you both. Dallas, for some reason, like, even since we've been children, has always been like the international hotspot for international players. I remember back when, like, Don Nelson was the coach, there was a commercial and he was like getting all these different dictionaries in different languages. And then he's like yelling at Dirk in practice in German. And then Dirk says something back and he scrambles to get his German dictionary. But it was like Dirk, Edward Nahara, like just a bunch of players from other countries. And I don't mind it on that point. Like, we don't play the anthem for Luka. We don't play anthems for other people's players. So I don't mind them being like, we don't want to play it. And then I also don't mind the NBA coming in and saying, like, since the NBA's inception, we've been playing this song before games. We want to honor America, the country that this league is inside. And if you want to sit during it or kneel, you don't want to sing along, like, by all means, go for it. We're just still going to play it. I don't mind. And then, because I don't think the national anthem itself is like promoting injustice. I think the people protesting it are protesting it because it is the anthem for a country that has some inequalities, but I don't think the anthem itself is the problem. So if the NBA wants to make them play it, I don't mind. If they want to kneel, I don't mind.
So in a state like Texas, everything's bigger in Texas. Texas is its own thing. Do you think it's un-American for them to not want to play the anthem before games?
I think, yeah, it being in Texas doesn't have to do with it being any more or less un-American. I think it being in Texas is going to get you more backlash for sure. But if you did it in California, if you did it in any country or any state in the country, like it's not any more or less American. You're just going to have different backlash.
Well, is California even America?
Here we go.
Serious question. I think that this story is not going to get the negative backlash that it would get if it's the NFL, though, just because of the demographic of basketball. But what I do find interesting is we talk about the NBA being a pro player league. We talk about the NBA, caring about their players and being in touch with their needs and stuff. But the NBA has the most strict anthem policy. Their policy is you stand for the anthem. And they just recently waived it over the past couple of years. But then even also with the NBA coming out and making a strong statement, it's like, nah, bro, like y'all are going to play the national anthem. I think it shows that the NBA is not as player friendly, as woke as some might say. And that kind of takes me into the next topic in the righteous NBA media. So I've been consuming a few basketball podcasts, and I find it so interesting when the members of the NBA media have such a issue with the NBA pressing forward and having a season, with the NBA having fans in games. It's like, well, if you care about player safety and the safety of your players, then you wouldn't do this. Yeah, bro, it's a business though. Like, it's not a humanitarian 501c3. It's a for-profit business that has a bottom line that got gutted because of the pandemic and is getting, I don't say getting gutted again, but they're not making nearly as much money as they like to. No merchandise, no concession, very few seats, like, why would we not do what we can to maximize the money and mitigate the risk of COVID? And just the NBA media is just acting like running a business is like the worst thing in the world. Have y'all seen any of that? And if so, how does it make you feel?
I mean, yeah, it is a business. I don't have an issue with them trying to push their product because they literally can't afford to take the season off. I will say, like some of the COVID protocols have been, a little spotty at best, which doesn't quite make sense. Like how, how is KD going to get pulled? What was it, like halfway through a game, after he's been on the court, with other, like, if you're going to do that, then the right thing to do would be shut down the game, right? So I understand, it doesn't look great all the time from the NBA standpoint, with them enforcing the rules.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there, Boynk. I just think the main backlash is coming from the rules have been inconsistent and they just haven't made sense. If you want to say we're gonna play, we have a bottom line. We need to try and meet that mark. I get that. Like, you can't just shut the business down. Like, as much as people want to say these players have so much money, these franchises so much, like, you can't just shut the business down. So if you're going to keep it going, they're trying to do it in as safe a way as possible. But then once you pull a player who's been in contact with every other player in that arena, you got to just let him play. So pulling someone during halftime and not pulling him before the game, I don't get. And they've just been spotty with how they wanted to implement the protocols. And it's looked bad for Silver, which to this point has been pretty spot on all his issues except for COVID, which, has been a cluster for every single league.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about the KD part, I don't know if y'all saw James Harden's post game presser. He was like, Yeah, I mean, he was around all of us, and the guy who Katie was exposed to was apparently like a team employee who had been around, and he's like, bro, but Katie passed 3 COVID tests. He's negative, and not to mention he also has antibodies because he was COVID positive in last year. So it's like, are we doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do, or are we trying to give the optical illusion that we're doing the right thing while still trying to conduct business and make money?
Yeah,
I think the hard part with this is like they're both the right thing. Trying to make money is the right thing. Trying to keep players safe is the right thing. And you just got to kind of find a balance in between. And this whole thing is just, it's been nuts. So I think both ways are the right thing. I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way to go about this one.
So what are your thoughts on fans being able to sit courtside? Because I was listening to the real ones, I think it was yesterday or Monday, and Logan Murdoch was just pissed that there's fans sitting courtside. And honestly, he's the one who kind of inspired this topic because he just goes in on the NBA trying to do anything to make money and not have people sitting at home, where it's like, hey, everybody doesn't want to sit at home. Everyone's not in a position to sit at home. There are workers who rely on the NBA to make money, like stadium workers, concession workers. Like, those people need those opportunities to go make a coin. But then we have the courtside Karen situation, right? And everybody's like up in arms because she has her mask down. But do you think that the NBA should maybe move fans back, or possibly, not have courtside seats?
I mean, as long as they're following like social distancing, like I don't see the issue. Like, you go to the grocery store, I'm sure, both of you have come in contact with somebody within like the 6 feet distance limit, and like it is what it is. Like, it's we're not like completely avoiding people, or at least I'm not. I'm sure some people are actually holed up in there wherever they live, but like I don't think it's like that big of an issue to have people courtside. Like, I don't think you should have a full arena, or like maybe not every courtside seat full. Like, if you can like socially distance, and like I honestly don't see the issue.
Yeah, even with the courtside Karen, there was still pretty good separation between her and the players on the court, and even between her and the people that were sitting next to her, the other fans that were sitting courtside. So I don't see how that's any different than like 2 people going for a walk in their neighborhood. Neither have masks on. You see them and you just walk to the other side of the street, or you just extend the distance between you two laterally on the sidewalk. Like, she and LeBron, the player she was going at it with, were very far apart. If everybody's right about this 6 feet thing, even with her mask being down, didn't seem like there was any way she was going to give anything to any of the players on the court. So yeah, she should have had her mask on and up. But I don't think players mind the people being courtside if they keep their masks on. I personally don't mind. Keep your mask on. There's plenty of separation between you two. It's not that big a deal.
But it's the optics, man. And I think that's the part that gets me, that people can get on their high horse and talk about, oh, we shouldn't have fans here, or we shouldn't play this game, we shouldn't do that. But people are getting on planes every single day. People are going to the grocery store every single day. The essential workers are being exposed to thousands of people every single day just doing their job. Like, McDonald's never closed, People going through the drive-thru every day. None of the grocery stores I go to ever closed. People are going through there every single day, and you don't know the level of exposure that these people have had to other people. You don't know if they're walking around with COVID. The grocery store is not taking your temperature to go in. And is anybody really following the arrows on the aisles?
No, I hate those things.
But there is like a risk you have to take when going to things. I don't like you putting other people at risk. And the good thing is, like, when you go to the grocery store, they mandate everyone has their masks on. So even if you want to be stupid and you're like, COVID isn't real, you still have to wear your mask. That way you don't give anything to anybody else. If you're going to go to this game, they're telling you, like, the players obviously aren't going to wear their masks. You wear yours. That way, even if you don't believe in COVID or you're not taking it seriously, you're not making the decision for somebody else. So she did put her mask down. She got kicked out, which I think was the right thing to do. I don't even care about her like arguing with LeBron. They said keep your mask on at all times. She didn't. She got kicked out of the arena. Like that simple. Once you put someone else at risk, like that's where I have a problem, and they handled it correctly. You risking it yourself, it's up to you. You're an adult.
What about my rights?
Yeah, she had a right to pull her mask down. She got her ass kicked out the arena. Like,
Boynk, you didn't go home for Christmas, did you?
No, I didn't.
No, so I went home and spent a little bit of time in the great city that is Atlanta, home of All-Star Weekend 2021. And let me tell you, masks are optional there.
I believe that.
I mean, there are places, and especially the further and further away you get from the city, you start getting to like the country, like Cartersville, Georgia, where I'm from. You walk into a restaurant or you walk into a place, a bar or something, the only person with a mask, and not like the only person with your mask up because people are maybe having a drink or sitting down at their table. No. You look around and no one has a mask or a gaiter around their neck, and you're like,
not even servers.
I mean, I saw servers. I saw a dude at the Dollar General, bro, with his mask on his neck, and I'm like, you work here. What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't surprise me one bit.
But that's what the All-Star game is going to be. And I don't know if y'all saw De'Aaron Fox came out and was like, yeah, I don't think we should do this. LeBron followed it up, was like, I mean, if I got to go, I'll be there physically, but I won't be there in spirit. And Giannis is like, well, you heard what LeBron said. If LeBron said it ain't no All-Star game, it ain't no All-Star game. And then Kawhi even came out and was like, yeah, bro, ain't the fuck we having an All-Star game for, man? So I look at that. And again, it's so complicated because I think one of the things that the players forget, especially the players at the top, is that, hey, this is collective bargaining. Their league is collectively bargained. So the owners don't take all of the risk, when it comes to the finances. And does it affect LeBron, the money that may be lost by not having the All-Star game, whether it's the TV rights, whether it's the merchandise sale and stuff like that? No. But does it affect 12th man on the bench making league minimum? Yes. And the Players Association is put in a position to have to make those decisions. So do y'all think we should have an All-Star game this year?
First off, I like how De'Aaron Fox just became the voice of the NBA on the All-Star game, like he was going.
Hey, he's averaged 31 over the last.
He's up and coming, man.
Yeah, I know.
He's nice.
He might slide in there, but I mean, the West is packed with guards, so. I mean, honestly, I don't think America deserves sports right now the way that we've handled COVID. So, an All-Star game, I mean, no, we don't deserve that for just, the way we've handled this. But I understand, the league has, money to make and, a quota to fill and everything.
The city of Atlanta doesn't deserve an All-Star game.
No,
yeah,
that's number one.
Well, actually, because we flipped the election, we deserve it. But that's the only reason. I mean, I personally, I'm not that excited to watch it because, I know the players' hearts aren't going to be in it. I wasn't super excited for the All-Star game up until, last year when they implemented the rule to kind of make it more competitive. But at the end of the day, I mean, if, you catch the highlights on Instagram of, the 10 dunks or whatever that people did, it's just, not that much of an entertaining game to me. So I personally I can do without it, especially if the players don't want to play in it.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen a good All-Star weekend in a long time. There have been a couple of good dunk contests, but All-Star weekend, and I don't know if it's just because I'm older, but it just isn't what it used to be. The players don't seem as into it. And with the way the protocols have been, putting 30 of your best players and coaches in the league in one place And then if one person gets it, they're all out. I think that's going to mess up your money even more, because if one person gets it, like the Nets are done. Your 3 best players can't play. And who wants to watch a Nets game where it's no KD, Kyrie, and James Harden?
You don't want to watch Joe Harris and Timothy.
I don't. DeAndre Jordan for 3. Like, no, nobody wants to watch that. He got to be pulling them because nobody else is there. Nobody wants Luwalu, Cabarrot. Like, nobody wants to watch that game now. So I'm just saying it's just bad. If you have games postponed or you have to watch games without the best players, like the ratings are going to dip. I think you just call it off. It's not that big a deal. And the city of Atlanta, like, is the worst place to have it. Half of the 2 teams are going to pull a Lou Will and be in Magic City to get wings. Like, it just is not going to end well. Why would you go to Atlanta and then you've been shut down the whole season? You think you're just going to sit in the hotel room?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's too many cameras out there.
They're going out. They're either going to go out or have people come in.
Or they're going to go to Rick Ross's mansion and have like a super dumb party with no phones.
Yeah, so.
And I'm sure Shaq has a house in Atlanta.
It's not going to end well.
You know, you talked about All-Star Weekend and how maybe because you've grown up, it's not that entertaining anymore. But honestly, how many more dunks can we do?
That's the thing. Like, the dunk contest is like, it's boring now. Like, you know, you'll get like maybe one dunk a year that's like, oh, like I was okay. It wasn't like any, you know, it wasn't like 2000 Vince Carter. I don't know if we'll ever get back to that level, but like, it's just not as entertaining now for some reason.
And the stars don't participate. Like, sorry, y'all. I don't want to hear random role player from the G League that can really jump out the gym in the dunk contest. I'm like, bro, I don't even know you. Like,
yeah, Aaron Gordon is a bucket, but his main gripe, the main thing he's striving for in this league is like, I want to win a slam dunk champion. It's like, those don't really count for anything, bro. I will say, I do think he and Zach LaVine had the best slam dunk competition, like as a whole competition, because Vince Carter's was the best solo performance, and no one's ever going to touch that. But the best contest, them two going at it, was really good. And I think he got robbed on one of them, but like that was 4 or 5 years ago, and then he got robbed again. Was that last year?
I couldn't even tell you who won.
Derrick Jones Jr., I think.
Okay.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, D Wade had the Spades tournament that everybody had to get to. So that's why they had to put the scores up and all of that shit, because he was hosting the Spades tournament and they was waiting on him to get back to the crib for the Spades tournament. You got time for no dunk contest?
Yeah, like, I don't know. If Zion was in it, I'd probably watch it. But yeah, you need like some bigger star power in there.
Yeah, Zion's fat and he needs to save his dunks. Zion and Ja going at it in a dunk contest, that would be entertaining. You know, you got two different body types. They came into the league together. They're going to be linked to each other forever on some LeBron Melo type shit. And it's like, yeah, let's see these two go at it. Dunk contest. They played in the same AAU program. Like, there's so many storylines we could go with here, you know.
Yeah, I would actually take time out to watch that.
Yeah, same.
Okay, Gucci does not like the mailman. So, hey, relax. So one thing I've noticed about the NBA, probably more than any other of our major sports league, is Gucci. Chill. Hey, come here. Stop walking, bro. We're okay. He doesn't like the mailman. But the NBA, unlike other leagues, we often see the older players not paying homage to the changes in the game. They treat the NBA like it's milk as opposed to wine. They're like, oh, back in our day, the game was so much better. It's like, was it really? Were players actually better back then? Because, you know, we love the bad boy Pistons. We love those Knicks teams that scored 85 points, but a lot of those players don't have a place in basketball anymore. Like they weren't skilled enough. They were just 6'8", strong, and could fight, and could grab a rebound. And then we hear the Shaqs of the world and the Chucks of the world just, going in on the youth. And you see what Shaq did with Donovan Mitchell was like, yeah, I just want you to know that I think you're good, but you ain't next level yet. I said it. Okay, Shaq. What are you talking about? You know how awkward that is for TV? And then when kind of confronted about it, was like, I don't have to explain myself to these earthlings. I got G14 classification. Like, yeah, Shaq, you can say whatever you want, but you're an analyst on TV. So if people don't understand what you're analyzing, you kind of got to break it down so we get it.
Yeah, I had a problem with Shaq's comments. I think it's fine if you wanted to say that, but that's not the venue to say that. That definitely came off as I'm not trying to give you constructive criticism. I'm just gonna criticize you for ratings, probably just for a headline. Which I mean, I guess he met his goal because here we are talking about him 2 weeks later. But it was just a pointless comment, and I don't know. It's just I feel like in every situation, not just the NBA, but everybody in general, people like to get up on their soapbox and start off a story back in my day. My era was better or whatever. So I mean, it is what it is. I don't listen to the old dudes anymore that much, to be honest.
Yeah, it was a random thing to say. I think period. Even if he would have tweeted it, it would have been why did you say that? It was even worse because he said it to him on air. What were you expecting to come from that? I think Donovan Mitchell actually handled it perfectly. I don't know what else you're supposed to say in a situation like that. And I don't know why basketball is like that. I think it's maybe because you right away will start to throw someone in comparison. Shaq was great, and immediately people were, I guess, comparing him to Hakeem and Kareem. And then right when Shaq's time ended and Dwight came, people were like, oh, Dwight's the new Superman. And Shaq actually has a personal vendetta against Dwight. He doesn't like Rudy Gobert now. Whereas in the NFL, football players like the young guys coming behind them. There are obviously some haters, but you just don't see the hate as much. You don't see any back in my day, these guys could never play against us. And that's all these NBA players, if they wanted to go back to the 90s, in our day, we would be doing this. And if they wanted to go back and play us in the 80s, you don't want to come play now either. You don't want Shaq out in a pick and roll on the top of the key. So the game has evolved. These dudes just want to relive their glory days. Shaq just needs to be secure in he's the best center of our generation. It's okay. Another generation will love somebody else. And all these dudes just need to get over it. They always just want to be well, in my time, well, your time's over. It's their time now. Just let them have it.
And that's what I really appreciate about what Kevin Garnett came out and said recently. He talked about how so often players 20 years ago want to say that the players today couldn't play in that generation. And he's like, yeah, you could hand check, you could guide players where you wanted to go. But now the way that players are playing, they're so athletic, they're so crafty, and they have these trainers and they're just working on these different move sets. And it's like, bruh, y'all strong feet and concrete asses couldn't guard them now. Y'all couldn't play in this league. Y'all might have torn ACLs and stuff like that because you're not gonna be able to stay in front of Steph Curry. If you think you're gonna hand check Steph Curry down the court, you're crazy. Blow by, or pick yourself up. What you think? Who's a defensive stopping guard from the 80s or 90s? What are they gonna do to Kyrie?
Be on the ground.
Yeah, I think you got to do time frames. So the best team ever, everyone's going to say, is the 96 Bulls. I don't think they could see the 01 Lakers, just the way matchups were. Who's guarding Shaq? Kobe and Jordan. I'll take Jordan over that one, but I feel close to a scratch. Pippen, okay. You could probably get a big body on you. It's just going to be rough for them. And the Lakers shot a lot of threes that year. And if you want to say the 86 Celtics, people want to look at that, fine. But you can't compare any of those teams to anything past 2015. The game is drastically different. Their spacing. You're going to shoot threes primarily. You just cannot compare them.
Do you know what the 17 Warriors would do to anybody else's favorite team ever?
Any of those teams would be obliterated.
Sweep. Get your brooms ready. It wouldn't even be pretty. It's like, oh, Shaq has 40, and Lakers lose by 15.
And the crazy part is that team, like, yes, they ended up winning game 1, but a lot of people were like, if Kawhi doesn't get hurt, they don't even beat the Spurs. The Spurs would have beat all them teams too.
Yeah, that was a 66, 67 win team.
Yeah, so I just don't understand everybody wanting to talk about these teams. You cannot play with them. The pace, how much just bigger and lankier everybody is. Like, your passes are getting stolen. People are just, they're either in lanes or can hit and get into a passing lane so much faster. It's just going to be bad. Your center, who's 7'6" or 6'11", pack in like 300 pounds, 290, is not keeping up with 6'10", 260. Like, it's just not happening.
And I just don't get why they just think it's better. It's like you didn't score as much. It's a bad TV product. Yeah, it was more physical, but even though it was more physical, those guys on average aren't stronger than the guys now. What is John Stockton doing with CP3?
Nothing. CP3 is a tank.
Yeah.
And CP3 is a little guard. Like, John Stockton was pretty average for that time frame. CP3 is a small guard, and he's what, 6'3"? Guards are big now.
CP3 is like my size.
Well, like 6'1",
6
6'2".
feet. Yeah.
He's like 6 feet, 175 with thighs and ass. Pause. You're not.
Yeah,
you're
he's a thick guy.
Yeah, like.
But guards these days are big.
Yeah, come on, man. Dame Lillard pulling up from 45 because he practices it.
Yeah, are you telling me Gary Payton, even his 96 glove year, is checking Russell Westbrook? Like, when Russell Westbrook is right, not Russell Westbrook now, but like full head of steam Russell Westbrook? No way.
Like, I don't understand why the old guys don't think, like, if they were playing today's game, they would be doing all the same stuff. Like, that's just like not how they were brought up. So, like, I don't understand why they have an issue with it. Because, like, I mean, those guys were good athletes. They just didn't focus on, the things that basketball players focus on now, from the age of like 6 on, where a big man is going to have handles, bring the ball up the court, and just kind of this positionless like NBA that we're in now. Like, I think if Shaq was like a teenager now, he'd be bringing the ball up, and he probably, what's up?
He'd be Giannis.
Exactly. So, like, I don't understand why they get so mad.
And I don't understand why they don't see the game that way. And I was listening to Cowherd one day, and he was talking about, he was like, yeah, some athletes, they're really good at the game, but they don't think the game. And when you hear these analysts talk about it, it was like, well, yeah, see, the way we played, we would do this and this. Well, there's a reason why the game's not played that way anymore, because somebody found a way to make it better. So I hear you, but no, bro. Like, think outside of your own bubble and give yourself enough credit to say, I'd adapt to this game.
I mean, Shaq has a son, Sharif, probably around like 6'8", 6'9", who, I caught an LSU game a couple weeks back. He was playing on the perimeter for the most part. Like, that's his own son.
And he raised him that way. He used to tell him to watch Kobe, watch LeBron, watch T-Mac. When he, because he has the big house in Orlando. When T-Mac was down there, he would have like T-Mac and them come over there and work with him and teach him the game. And it's like, so hold on, Shaq. You can think this to your kid, but you can't think this to yourself or to your analysis on TV.
Shaq, by and large, is the most sensitive one also, which I don't get. His legacy is like cemented, and it's great. You are a top 10 player all time, 3 finals MVPs, and you had Kobe on your team, and Kobe was like putting in work, and you were just that damaging. It was like 30, 13, and like 3 blocks a game in the finals for 3 years in a row. Like, no one's touching that. It's all, you don't need to be such a hater.
Bro, it makes no sense at all. Like, even if Chuck will make some type of comment about, well, Shaq, you probably could have won 3 more rings if you would have came in shape. Don't talk to me like that, Chuck. Google me, Chuck. Google me, Chuck. Bro,
that was actually a pretty good Google me, Chuck.
Yeah, it was.
I've been working on it. But it's like, dog, we know who you are. We respect what you did. And the thing is, you could have still been better. And Shaq even said out of his mouth, I didn't try to be the greatest. I tried to be great with the least amount of work, which I don't knock that. That would be my approach. You know, I'm a Melo fan. Get your bag, get your money, live your life off the court.
Yeah, but being as great as you can be without trying and still being a top 10 player all time, like, it's just crazy how good Shaq could be if he wanted to be. And maybe that's why he's mad. But I don't understand, man.
Because he didn't leave it all on the court. Hey, kids, leave it all on the court, buddy. So now let's get into some stuff going on in this season, man. And I think there's been a lot of surprises this season. EB, what was your biggest shock so far?
Gotta be Christian Wood, hands down. I remember seeing him at UCLA, and I think this is when he was with Detroit, and the Rockets and the Pistons were there, just like working out open run. And I didn't even know who he was. One of my friends works for Rico Hines, and that's who they were like working out with. And I was like, who's this dude? I don't even know this guy. And I think he said a name that was wrong. He was like, I think this is his name. And I was like, oh, okay. And then later on this year, Christian Wood explodes onto the scene. I was like, that's the guy I saw at UCLA. And now I know his name. Now he's putting up legit numbers. So that's my shock of the season. I don't know where that came from.
Boynk?
I'll go with that. The Knicks are slightly competitive because I was not expecting that at all. And I'm glad they are. I think it's good for the league. But, you know, I was expecting them to be in the basement.
Yeah, I thought it was like, hey, what are y'all doing acquiring all this mid-level talent? Why won't y'all just go suck and tank? You know?
Although I do question the Derrick Rose trade because, I mean, they got a bunch of young guards that, you know, quickly's been tearing it up. And, I mean, I think it's important for those young guards to play, but I don't know why they went out and got Derrick Rose.
Because
I mean,
Tibbs.
I know Tibbs wanted him, but like that was like just when I thought the Knicks were like breaking out of, you know, their being the Knicks, they go and pull a Knicks.
Yeah.
Man, don't do Derrick Rose like that, man. He's a good player. He was on a bad team. Detroit is fucking terrible, if we're being honest here.
No, they are. But like, would you rather have, you know, old D Rose or like let the young guys play?
We're talking about Tibbs. We're not talking about me. Tibbs is gonna try to win every fucking game. Like D Rose is gonna come in there and sing his praises. He's probably already called Miami about Jimmy Butler. Taj Gibson, where are you? We need you.
Oh,
Joe Kim, you can come here and be a bench coach. Like he has his culture. He wants to bring that Tibbs culture to the Knicks. Bring back the aura of the Garden. You know what I mean?
I mean, I guess like.
So
I'm just surprised that they're doing it with Julius Randle as their guy.
That one is shocking to me too.
So I'm really upset that you took mine. They're Boynk. But I'll go with, and we'll go a little bit deeper into it later, is the Dallas Mavericks, man.
Yeah.
They're a 13 seed right now.
Yeah, I was expecting a little bit more out of it. I know KP, I guess he's been hurt, or maybe he's just not good anymore.
He's done.
Which is sad. I mean, it's not surprising. He's like, 7'3", and like.
Yeah, he's 7'3" with bad feet.
Yeah.
What I thought was one of the dumbest trades I've ever seen now kind of looks like the Knicks won.
Yeah. Whoever would think the Knicks won a trade.
When it was happening, I was like, the Knicks really can't help themselves. And now it's like, how did the Knicks have this foresight? Like, how did they do this? Something correctly.
Yeah.
7'3" with bad feet just doesn't work, you know, and they was even able to flip Dennis Smith Jr. for an asset. And He hasn't been an asset since NC State.
Yeah.
His rookie season was good.
Good stats, bad team.
Yeah, but you still thought like, oh, this kid promising.
I like to watch him on a fast break.
Yeah, I didn't think he was taking the league by storm, but I was like, oh, this kid's gonna have a career. I didn't think in a few years like send him to the G League, but I thought this kid's gonna
to the G League.
But that's because he was averaging 3 points. It ain't like they were like, no, we need you up here. They were like, yeah, I think that's a good idea, bro.
Like, you know what? I got something worse than the G League. Detroit. So I came up with 10 questions, and feel free to deep dive in these questions because we're going to use them as conversation pieces, right? First question. Are the number 1 seed Jazz for real?
I think so. I mean, we're a third of the way through the season. We're what are they, like 20-5, I think? Like,
yes.
9-1 in their last 10.
Yeah. And a game ahead of the Lakers.
I don't think
it gets much realer than that. I think they're for real. Do I think they're going to the finals? No. Do I think they'll be in the Western Conference Finals? I think it'd be them or the Clippers against the Lakers. I think the Lakers will eventually swoop and take the 1 seed, but being the 2 seed in the West, or maybe even the 3. But I think they're for real, and they're a Western Conference contender for the Lakers. I just don't think anyone's beating the Lakers in a 7-game series.
Well, they went on their. You know why they went on that big winning streak, though, right?
About to say something foolish.
Shaq.
Don't say Shaq.
Yeah,
they were already winning before Shaq said the stupidness he said.
Well, Shaq said they started winning because of him, because he Jedi mind tricked Donovan Mitchell to bring his game up to the next level. That's what he was doing. He was Jedi mind tricking Mitchell to get better.
Yeah, while he was trying to Jedi mind trick Donovan Mitchell, he Jedi mind tricked himself into thinking he did something correct.
Yeah.
Jordan Clarkson has actually been balling. He's like sneaky 6th man of the year.
Yeah, I think
not even sneaky.
Yeah.
Hey, I've always been Team Clarkson, man.
And you remember both had like a quarter life crisis, and just got tats at like the age of 30.
There's nothing wrong with a quarter life crisis. Sometimes you gotta, find some New Balance.
Like Kawhi.
Yeah.
But now I think they're a legitimate team because they've been around that 4 or 5 seed for the last few years. Donovan Mitchell definitely does not get the respect he deserves as a young player who's actually made an immediate impact in the league. Rookie Donovan Mitchell said, "Hey Russ, nah, bro, go home." He's playing in the playoffs every year. Granted, he got bounced in the first round last year, but that was probably the most entertaining series of the whole fucking playoffs. Him versus Jamal Murray. That's who I should have had on my shocks of the season, which really wasn't a shock to me that Jamal Murray just fell back from grace, because he's a 17-point per game guy, and that's who he is.
Yeah, Jamal Murray is just being Jamal Murray. He went off for like 50 multiple times in the playoffs, and we were like, where has this been? We've been waiting for you to take a leap, but you always just kind of flip-flop in. I want to be great today. I want to be a good player today. I want to be all right. So when he went back to being all right, I was like, well, he was great for a long span, so it makes sense that he's going to be average for a long span of time.
And they're a 7 seed right now. And shout out to Dame having the Blazers at a 5 seed.
Yeah, and they've had some injuries.
Bro, CJ was about to have his coming out party. Him and Jaylen Brown were like, "Oh, y'all are finally gonna be all-stars now, huh?"
Yeah.
And then, like always, CJ breaks his foot. As much as I love CJ, he knew what he did to Duke that 1 year.
Yeah, that was
he
tough
did
to watch. And now him and Dame are the best backcourt in the league, and he gets it's not even, you can't even argue it. There's no backcourt even close to them. Granted, Steph and Clay are just now Steph and Kelly Oubre, which is not the same thing. But
what about Steph and Wiggins?
No. Dame and CJ head and shoulders above every other backcourt in the league.
Wall and Oladipo.
No.
No. James Harden and Kyrie, stop it. Stop it.
I just feel like the production that Dame and CJ were giving without having a KD on their team, like it's just different.
All right. Is Luka Doncic overrated?
Yes, because the media talk like he's a great player, but like he does get overhyped. So like short answer, yes. Like
Yeah, I think he's probably like top 5 player in the league for sure. I'd put him in there. Like if someone has him out, if you have him out, but like right on the cusp, like you don't have him far out, you probably have him just right outside, which is also fine. But everyone's like, this guy's the second coming and is about to be the next best thing. I don't know. Like LeBron, it was clear. With KD, it was pretty clear. And with this kid, it's clear that he's going to be very good for a long time, but I don't know if he's the player that everybody's saying he is going to be.
You know what I think a lot of people have missed on Luka is that he is closer to his ceiling than most players are at his age.
For sure.
He's putting up like 28, 8, and 9. Which are,
right.
You know,
and people
that's
and people think that can grow to like, and I've heard people say, yeah, you know, by year 5, he might be 35, 12 and 12. And it's like, no, he's been playing pro basketball for so long that he's actually had to refine his skills at an earlier age than a lot of our American basketball players who could survive off athleticism. And now they're in the NBA and they're refining their game and they're finding their stride in year 4 and year 5. And Luka has already found that stride. He's just going to maintain I think he's going to maintain for a very long time. But you look at him right now and what he's doing well, it is really good. Like he controls the game, like the game is always played at his pace, but they're a 13 seed and you can't be the media darling, the favorite for MVP coming into the season and be a fucking 13 seed. That's unacceptable.
Yeah, I agree. I think he is either very close to or at his ceiling. But even if he's reached his ceiling, if he keeps where he's at now for another 10, 15 years, like he's a Hall of Famer. He's going to be fine. So the fact that I don't know if he has more room for progression like people think he does, he could probably get a more consistent jumper that he's just going to hit regularly. And I know you look at the numbers and it's like he's almost at 30 a game. Like he is scoring, but it's not like give the ball to Luka and let him get a jumper off and we know it's going to go in. He hit that clutch shot against the Clippers, but it's not like Luka's just a dead eye shooter.
No.
And if you think it's coming, it may. But I think even where he's at now for the next 10 to 15 years, like he's going to have a solid career, Hall of Fame career, which is great.
I think my problem with the Luka stuff is that he was given too much too soon. Like, bro, you got bounced in the first round your second season. I got it. You were a 7 seed, but it wasn't like a real 7 seed. Like 3 through 7 in the West was so tight last year that he could have been a 4. He could have been a 5, just a few games here or there. But you're talking about him like his impact on winning is greater than that of a James Harden, a Dame Lillard, guys who have actually carried teams on playoff runs. And granted, they're not champions either, but Dame went to the Western Conference Finals. James has been to the Western Conference Finals. And just to say that, oh yeah, Luka's better than him now. Maybe.
I think in his defense, they're saying he's going to be better than what they are now because when you saw KD, when you saw Russ, when you saw James on those early OKC years, you were like, man, they got it all out ahead of them. Like their careers are going to be great. And then things break one way or another. KD went and won his rings with another team. James Harden got close with the Rockets, but never got there. And now at this point, you're like, I don't know if James Harden is going to get there. If he is, now that he's with the Nets, like it's got to be like these next couple of years or never. With Russ, that window's probably closed. So it's just, you think he's got all this time out ahead of him. And then in a couple of years, it could be like, hey, Luka, like Time's ticking, bro.
He also hasn't had like a lot of help either.
One more time, Boynk.
I said he also hasn't had like a lot of help either. Like, you know, he had a banged up KP and Seth Curry as his main running mate, and this year he has Josh Richardson, you know, and Maxi Kleba.
Seth Curry's gone.
They had a high, they had one of the high, they had the highest offensive rating like history last year.
Yeah, I mean they had like good players, but like a true, I guess, like sidekick for him, which I think is what people why he gets so much credit is because, you know, he did carry that team at a very early age with, you know, like I said, some good role players, like a good team around him, but just like no one else to help shoulder that true offensive load.
What they should do is put together a package for Brad Beal. But speaking of Brad Beal, is Russell Westbrook done?
Yeah.
Is he Allen Iverson in Detroit?
I think so.
You can't play like that. I mean, you know,
the numbers are still great.
Yeah, but your body is literally just gonna, you know, break down on you at some point. Like, he's played so hard for so long. Like, we all knew this was coming. So I mean, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, still averaging like damn near a triple-double, and it just doesn't do anything for the team. Yeah, so yes, the numbers are nice. So when he retires, it can be like, man, look at these career stats. But for the team, especially in the East, him and Bradley Beal give that team 55 points a night. You telling me between the other, let's say they play like 6-7 other guys a night, y'all can't come up with another 55 points? And it's because just the way Russ plays, like he's going to get his, and it's going to hurt your team more than it's going to help your team.
Should LaMelo Ball have gone first overall in the draft?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I don't know. Like this, so one thing, like this rookie class is, I don't want to say they're better than I expected. Like I didn't think that there was going to be like a star out of this class. I will say that they're better. Like, you know, guys like Quickly, Halliburton, like some of like the guys that didn't go as high or get as much hype coming out of the draft. Like overall, the class has been a little bit better than I thought it would be.
Yeah,
I think the media got the top of this class wrong. I honestly do. I think the players at the top of the draft were actually really good basketball players. We didn't have the normal draft lead up that we do each year because of COVID. We didn't have the NCAA tournament, but it was just different. You know, Anthony Edwards was on a team that just wasn't really good in Georgia. He took a lot of bad shots, but that's what good players do on bad teams. They don't have anything around them. You just develop bad habits, and we've seen that with a lot of players once they get to the league and they're on these bad teams. It's something that Trae Young is struggling with now. What's my man's name? James Wiseman. He only played, 2 or 3 college games. We didn't see him. But James Wiseman is good. But he's on a team that's trying to win. So what he is not developed enough yet for what Golden State is trying to do. So yeah, they're gonna slow walk him into it. And Melo Ball, yeah, his shot is unorthodox. He played a non-favorable style of basketball, especially when he was over in Australia. But if you look at the way Lonzo plays, you know they're cut from the same cloth. They were taught to play by the same person. They know how to play basketball the right way. And when you put that in a structure where it's like, hey, here's your left and your right lateral limits. Here's what you can do. Here's what you can't do. Then it totally changes how they play. But because they weren't just your typical, it wasn't a typical prospect. It wasn't the one and done player who dominated and was on a good team. It was, oh yeah, you were ineligible because Penny Hardaway, who was your coach, also was taking care of you in high school before he was your college coach. Or LaMelo Ball, whose dad gave him a shoe contract, pulled him out of school early, and ruin his NCAA eligibility because it was alternative routes that their talents got watered down, and now LaMelo is being what everything pointed at him being as a prospect.
He's a better scorer than I thought he would be.
Yeah. Passing ability has always been there. The rebounding is better than I thought it was going to be also. But, yeah, redoing the draft, I would still take Wiseman number 1. Anthony Edwards is like a freak athlete, and like the raw skill is there. But I would have taken Wiseman 1, and then I think Halliburton 2, then LaMelo, because we still got to honor Carmelo. But yeah, I think LaMelo would have been number 3. He's by far the most exciting player to watch from this draft class. Like, that kid is fun to watch whenever he's on TV, or if you like go seek him out on League Pass. But he's the most exciting player to watch. But I think the best player in the class is Wiseman.
You said Halliburton, and seeing him and Swiper play together, I think it's helped unlock De'Aaron Fox. But also, imagine if Luka and Swiper would have been playing together right now instead of Marvin Bagley.
Yeah,
they messed that one up.
It's the Kings, though. What do we expect here?
Well, apparently the Kings are what's holding Marvin Bagley down, according to his daddy.
Hold on, one more time.
Apparently the Kings are what's holding down Bagley, according to his daddy. His daddy was like, they need to trade him.
Yeah, his dad doesn't get enough credit for being who he is. Y'all want to shit on LeVar. LeVar's a team player, baby. Is Doc a good coach?
Yeah.
I came on here and rip Doc after the playoffs, but he has the process working.
I think everybody was ready to rip him after the playoffs because he underperformed, because he is a good coach.
Yeah.
And I think he underperformed in Boston. Like, I know they won a ring, but I think they should have won.
2010?
No. Not 2010 or 2009, because those were Kobe's years. But
2010, if you hold Kobe to damn near nothing, Kobe was playing damn near playing power forward in Game 7. You're supposed to win that game.
I don't think so. Everybody wants to say it was like, well, Kendrick Perkins wasn't there, and yes, he's a big body, but my man's averaging like 5 points. I'm not trying to hear it. So
Big
that one was a toss-up. I know with Orlando, he had like a 3-1 lead and then lost that one too. So he does this in the playoffs. He is a good coach, but he underperforms, and that's why people are mad with him. Lob City never even got to the finals, which still blows my mind. So he's a good coach because he's gotten teams this far. And then the reason he got ripped last year is because he is such a good coach and he's underperforming. He's not a bad coach by any means. If he was a bad coach, people wouldn't be tripping about him losing all these times in the playoffs like this.
Weren't you a Lob City fan?
No, that was my father. You got the wrong ear, boy. I hated Lob City with a passion. I still hate Lob City with a passion.
What did Lob City do to you? They just won while the Lakers were terrible?
Pretty much.
No,
they started hanging up banners like they did something. Or they hung up like pictures of themselves like they did. Like, this our city. It's like, y'all been good a year.
Maybe it's just off to that Chris Paul, got nixed by the Lakers.
The whole team was just off-brand. Like, they thought they were a lot. Well, they were as good as they thought they were, but they were walking like they had won already. And it was just great watching them lose in the playoffs all them years.
We were talking about Doc. Is Tibbs underrated?
I think he's properly rated.
Yeah, properly. But like I said, I mean, I am very surprised that the Knicks are, even sniffing the playoffs. I mean, he's doing a good job up there with the talent on the roster. You got like Austin Rivers playing like 30 minutes a game, like yeah. So, but I wouldn't say he's like a great coach.
I mean, he got Minnesota in the playoffs.
That team also, they had a lot of pieces and didn't do much with it. So
yeah, they got rid of. Yeah, Jimmy said, "Fuck y'all, I'm out."
Yeah, so I'm supposed to be happy because y'all got to the playoffs and then got bounced in the first round.
Can Stan Van Gundy coach? And I asked that question because, he had the Orlando run. Then he went to Detroit and did nothing. And now he's down in New Orleans, and they struggled initially. You got Zion, who can't score outside of the paint, but you want to couple that with Steven Adams. They're currently the 10 seed, but they are on a 4-game winning streak.
I don't know what they're doing. Like, I don't know if it's Stan Van Gundy's fault or if it's management, but like I'm not sure what they're doing because like the Steven Adams trade just didn't make any sense from a basketball standpoint at all. And then they gave him an extension, right? And they like right after they traded for him, shipped Jay Rue Holiday off for Bledsoe. So it's like then they have like a bunch of young players that are like up and coming, like Bi,
Lonzo, Josh Hart.
Yeah, and it's like, what are you guys doing?
And JJ Redick and Lonzo are on the trade. They're on the trade block now.
Yeah, it goes to those contenders.
I don't know what they're doing either. And I like Stan. I thought he was good with the Heat. I thought he was good with Orlando. And the thing with Orlando was funny because like I don't think he can coach in today's game, maybe, but he was kind of the one that ushered us into it. Like if you look at what the 09 Magic were doing, it was like we're going to space out 4 people. Y'all just rain threes. Dwight collect anything we miss and put it back in. And it was just 4 out, 1 in. And now he's got this team, and it just doesn't work. And it's on him partly to figure out what they're doing because no one knows what's going on. You're going to play Adams and Zion together, which doesn't make sense. And then just a lot of the other moves, they fall on him as the coach.
Can we get Zion and Brandon Ingram to remember how to play defense?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, in my opinion, Zion should be like a defensive player of the year candidate just with his athletic ability.
And Bi with his size. I know he's skinny, exactly. But on the perimeter, like without his wingspans are what, like 7'3"?
Something crazy.
Yeah, I'm not trying to hear it.
They should be a good team.
Mm-hmm.
Like they should be a good fun. They should be a good, fun, young team that, like, they should be what the Blazers were like 4 or 5 years ago. You know, great league pass team. You know, they're probably not gonna get out of the first round, but they may go on a run and beat the 3 seed as a 6 seed. You know, but they're the 10 seed.
Yeah, I didn't like that hire, and I mean, I don't really have anybody else that I can think of off the top of my head that I think should have gotten that job. But I wish that they would have given a younger coach like a chance or something. Because I mean, we've seen what Stan Van Gundy.
I thought his brother might have been a better hire than him.
Yeah.
Well, what about Mark Jackson? No, that's the answer. The answer is no.
All right, cool.
Mark Jackson loses every opportunity to get a job every time he comments on a game. His commentary is terrible and just lets me know that he is stuck in the 1990s with Shaq and the rest of the old heads.
Yeah, I felt really bad when they ousted him from the Warriors, and I was like, this team is on the cusp. And then next year they ended up winning it all and becoming what we know today. And then you peel the onion back, and I was like, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
What happened to him. And then you listen to him on the broadcast, and it's just like, it really makes sense.
Yeah.
Did I send you that article about him where they talked about like all the different stuff that he did wrong on that job?
I don't know if you sent it to me. I know I read one.
Yeah, I remember reading one.
He like laid hands on Steph and wanted Steph to like run around the church.
Yeah, it was like had Bible study at practice or something.
And the owner was like, "Hey, you have more. You can get more assistants. Like we're gonna pay top dollars for assistants." He's like, "Nah, don't need an analytics department. I got this."
Yeah, I mean, he was just utilizing Steph completely wrong, and I mean that like he fully deserved to lose his job even after winning like 50 plus games.
Yeah. So will Seth Curry, who is currently 50-50-100, do you think he can end the season at 50-50-95 or even 50-50-90?
I think that 3-point shooting is going to drop into the 40s, and then he'll be a 90-something%. I think it'll be high 40s, and then he'll be a 90% free throw shooter.
I want to say he's the NBA career leader in 3-point percentage.
I think that's right. Yeah, that is right.
Yeah.
Best shooter in the family.
No, get out of here.
I mean, that's what the numbers say.
The numbers don't take into account that, like, for one, he's not dribbling into his threes. He's catching them and shooting them. His brother he's pulling from half court some of the time. And then he's also dribbling into the shots, getting a little bit of separation, and then firing. Like, his brother is the best shooter we've all ever seen. I know you don't like him, but that is the truth.
Oh, no, I think Steph Curry is the best shooter I've ever seen, and I'm enjoying watching him struggle to be an 8 seed and have great games, but not really be a serious contender, because that's what he is.
He's not a serious contender?
His team isn't.
Okay, yeah. That is true.
Does CP3 get the credit he deserves as a winner? Because I know he has not won the big game, but where CP3 goes, winning follows. He won in New Orleans. He went to the Clippers, turned them around. He goes to Houston and almost gets them over the hump, but, his hammy, that damn thing. Then he follows that by getting shipped out of town, and OKC was doing Houston a favor by taking on Chris Paul instead of keeping Russell Westbrook. And what happens? He ends up getting them into the playoffs while they were trying to tank and almost beat Houston in the first round. And then now you see him with the Phoenix Suns, and they're a 4 seed right now. And they've gone from a great let's watch Devin Booker try to score 40 and lose by 20 to a serious threat to get to the second round or maybe even the Western Conference Finals.
Your last statement there is like that's what they're going to do. They're going to get to the second round, maybe the Western Conference Finals. I mean, I think we remember Chris Paul in the playoffs because it seems like he doesn't show up, whether it's like injuries or like, it's just like bouncing the second round year after year. I mean, that's kind of what you're going to get from him. Yeah.
In the pivotal moments, he either was hurt or he had that one like major mess up against OKC?
Yeah, when he dribbled the ball like off of
So I think we're all going to remember him as the best point guard we've seen. And like you said, where he goes, winning follows. And the reason they lost to the Warriors, but like they lost to them because he was out for part, because they were looking like the winner that year. But it's nice to see what he did in OKC last year. Like, you like him, you want to root for him. You like what he's doing now in Phoenix. But he's going to go down as like a great player. That's it. He didn't win the big game. He never even made it to the finals.
SGA is also really good. Just you talk about him in OKC. I watched him against the Lakers the other day, and I'm like, I like him.
He went off.
So final questions of our 10 questions. Is KD the best third option in NBA history? So here's where this comes from. If you watch Brooklyn play, and full disclosure, I think Kevin Durant is the best player on that team. But you see, James is running the point. So just by virtue, he is your one or your two option because the ball is in his hands, and we know what James is capable of. And to his credit, he's leading the league in assists, and he's not been as aggressive as a scorer since coming to Brooklyn. Then you got Kyrie, who since he came back from sabbatical, he has been shooting. He was scoring, but he's looked like the number one on offense. And that's left KD getting less shots than ideal, but he also has the game that is probably the most efficient scoring game we've ever seen. So KD can go get you an easy 25 on 15 shots. He can go get you 30 on 18, 20 shots. So the way their offense has looked so far is looked as if KD is the third option in their offense. And I'm not saying that it's right or it's wrong, but do you think he can be the best third option in NBA history?
Yeah, I mean, he's just not a ball stopper. He doesn't really need to dribble to create separation or to get a shot off, because he's 7 feet and he shoots from the top of his head. Like, he can literally rise up whenever he wants to, or, take 2 dribbles to get to the lane and kick it out. Whereas like James Harden and Kyrie, like, they will bounce that thing up and down, 50 times just for a step back 3. So it's like, I think, and he also has the experience of playing with 2 other stars. Obviously Steph is pretty ball dominant as far as needing to create separation play, not so much, but he just has that experience. So, I mean, he's just used to it at this point. So yes, to answer your question, I don't agree that he's the third option though.
Yeah, I'm going to say no, because he'll be the best third option when he does become a third option. Because in my mind, the option is like, we need a bucket. Who are we going to first? And you're going to KD first. And then you're going to James Harden. And then you're going to Kyrie. Like, who's bringing the ball up and who's got the ball in their hands the most time? That's just who's getting the most usage. If the Nets need a bucket, we're drawing a play up for KD first, unless James Harden's got 50 points or Kyrie's got 50 points. Any regular game, we're going through James Harden to get this bucket.
But Kyrie's going to step in and steal the pass and then take the shot.
And make
that doesn't mean he was the option. That just means he forced it. But KD's the number 1 option. He's scoring more points than them. Granted, he is more efficient, so he doesn't need as many shots. So just because he's putting less shots up, he's just going to shoot less and make more than them. So he's scoring more points. And period, at the end of the game, if you're down 2 points and you need a bucket, we're giving the ball to KD. He's got 2 other really good options in case something happens, but you're giving the ball to KD.
Does Kyrie look like he's old and tired right now?
He looks old. He got them grays coming out. He got a lot of cobwebs up in there.
Like, he got the grays, like his lips a little bit darker, and he has like this little shadowy beard thing on. It's like, is everything okay, Kyrie? You look like you're like life's hitting you hard.
Yeah, Kyrie's never okay.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him.
So
the whole team just looks like sad and down. And I'm like, this is literally what y'all wanted. Like, well,
yeah,
everyone's mad at us. It's like, y'all decided to team up. This is what happens when y'all decide to team up like this.
And look at how they went about it. KD, like, I don't know nothing about James. He's on that team, and And 3 days later, guess who's showing up to Brooklyn? 10 pounds lighter already. And do you think they can win the championship? I think they can.
Yeah,
they can. I don't think they are. Their defense is atrocious. Like, I was looking at their like last 10 games, and I think they have, they give up routinely like over 120, 130 points every night. And like, yeah, they'll also score 120, 30, but like, you can't. It's not sustainable.
But you see,
they lose to the bad teams. They beat the Bucks. They beat they beat the good teams, and then they don't beat the bad teams. I think in a playoff series, like if they end up going to the Eastern Conference Finals and playing Philly, or they go to the finals and play the Lakers, like, I think they can lock in and hopefully D up better. But I think they can.
You know who they remind me of, though? They remind me of the Clippers of last year, a team that of some players. Great talent. They aren't as consistent as you like them to be, and the media and a lot of people just think they're the prohibitive favorites. It's like, oh yeah, they're going to be in the finals. They're going to be right there, and it's like they haven't worked through how they're going to play in the tough games together, and they walk around with their chest out like they've done it before. And granted, KD's done it before, Kyrie's done it before, but they haven't done it before together. And I think that because they take these games off, they don't lock in on defense on a regular basis, and they don't know how they're going to act when the going gets tough. Then I just think they're going to be a disappointment, just like the Clippers were.
Yeah, that, and combined with the fact that Steve Nash is a first-time head coach, and
it shows.
Yeah, in a very tricky situation. I don't think that they are going to win this year.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't win, but I don't think they're going to be the Clippers. Like, the Clippers had a 3-1 lead and then tanked it to Denver in the second round. If the Nets lose in the Eastern Conference Finals to Philly, like, That's not a choke job. Y'all lost to a really good team. They get to the finals and lose to the Lakers. That's not a choke. Y'all lost to a really good team. If they pull a choke job and lose to the Pacers in like the second round of the Eastern playoffs, then like, yes. But I think the difference between them and the Clippers, the only player that had done something on the Clippers was Kawhi. PG is great, but like PG hadn't done anything yet. And then they have KD, who has done.
PG viewed himself on the same level
Viewed himself and what you have done are not the same thing. So I don't care how he viewed himself.
As LeBron and AD.
Yeah, I don't care how he viewed himself. The truth of the matter was he disappears in the playoffs, and he did last year. And then KD has done it, and so has Kyrie. James Harden, I think he can disappear in the playoffs at times too. But it's not your best player is proven, and your second best player disappears. It's your best. You have two players who are great options, who have been there and know what it takes. So I think they'll fare better than the Clippers did. I would be surprised if they don't win it all, but I think they'll do better than the Clippers.
So we know something's going to change with that roster. There's going to be some buyout guys. Who do you think they need a potential buyout guy to actually get that roster over the hump?
A big, like a, JaVale McGee type, just somebody to bang around with Joel Embiid and AD.
And protect the rim. I just don't understand giving up Jared Allen, because I feel like they didn't need to give him up to make the whole trade work out. So I think they needed to keep him.
Well, I think he's a threat to DeAndre
Jordan.
DeAndre Jordan. I was about to say Andre Drummond.
DeAndre Jordan ain't been right in years. So
we can't play him in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
He's the four in their big four, though. Before
they're not a big four.
Got there,
they're not a big four.
They were big three with DJ.
They were not a big three.
That's literally because KD and Kyrie wanted him, and like he didn't deserve that 4-year, $40 million contract at all. And
if you lumped into the big four, just be the biggest one there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they can beat Philly. Like, what is Joel Embiid going to do to them? Kill them.
Yeah, exactly.
Ben Simmons can actually make scoring tough for Kevin Durant.
Mm-hmm.
And Doc Rivers, he lets us down in the playoffs, but he is a really good coach. And you see how they're playing right now, and shit. J. Rue might be the difference in Milwaukee.
I don't think they're going anywhere.
Yeah. It's going to be the same old thing of, Giannis just running into a wall, and that's it.
Yeah.
Hey,
it's funny because his career, he's won 2 MVPs and then bounced out the playoffs. So it's like his career can either LeBron, because LeBron had 2 MVPs, nothing to show for, and actually got bounced out in like the same parts of the playoffs. But I think a much more realistic trend for Giannis's career is going to be Karl Malone. You win these MVPs, we all recognize you're a great player, but you're just not going to win. You by yourself are not a winner.
Karl Malone's disgusting. I like how the Lakers have pretty much they play half of the game and they still win.
It's LeBron's MO. He's always done that.
Like
when they were in the regular season.
Like when they're playing Denver, it's like, oh, Denver's up by a little bit. This isn't gonna last long.
Yeah.
Speaking of LeBron, who do y'all got as your early MVPs?
I think it's going to be LeBron, but I would have Joel. He's really impressed me this season.
I don't like his name.
I don't either.
I think that matters.
Yeah, I do think it's going to be LeBron, and I'd like to see LeBron get it, but I wouldn't be mad if Joel Embiid got it.
Well, yeah, it's definitely the LeBron redemption tour this year. It's like, man, we got it wrong last year. We're not giving this man his just due.
They didn't get it wrong last year.
That's what the media is saying because of what Giannis did in the playoffs.
Yeah, Giannis was the best player, and that's why you need to just determine what it is, because LeBron is the best player in the league, was the best player in the league last year. Giannis was the most valuable player last year. what his team was doing, what his stats were, he was the best player.
I think they should start back giving the award out, in the first round. So the MVP is still in the playoffs when all this stuff happens, and the award's already been given. So we're not going crazy like, oh no, he shouldn't have got this, and all of this. Be like,
yeah, I agree.
We got to mail Giannis his MVP trophy since he won't be in the bubble to receive.
Yeah, the later you have it, it's just going to be like, but look what he did in the playoffs. Well, you realize it's a regular season MVP award. So right when the regular season ends, hand that thing out.
Joker was making a really good push towards the MVP, but they're a 7 seed, and Steph is having his MVP type numbers, but you just can't give the MVP to a low seed unless they average a triple double. And then we look back years later and say that was stupid.
Yeah.
Like, we really gave Russ an MVP for being a 6 seed.
Yeah, but he was average. Like, who else were we going to give it to that year? The best team was the Warriors, and you weren't going to give it to KD or Steph. Kawhi was doing well, but you weren't going to give it to Kawhi.
You could have went Bron or James.
You could have went Bron. I wouldn't have been mad about James, but then it was like James is averaging damn near a triple double. Well, this guy is averaging a triple double. Yeah, you're right. All right, let's give it to Russ.
Yeah.
But it's funny to hear different NBA voters come out and say, "Yeah, I got that one wrong. I care a little bit too much about the triple double."
Yeah, I mean, people just got carried away with the whole triple double thing because most people thought that we would never see that ever. So I mean, I'm not too mad about it. Like, he's the first player to average a triple double in 60 years or something like that.
Whenever the Big O was playing.
So,
He's
I don't mind it.
All right, do y'all have any big predictions for the season? Because I think for me, everything's pretty much chalk. LeBron MVP, Lakers win the championship again. He wins number 5, and then he should be the universally recognized GOAT. But that's a conversation for another day.
No, I don't have like a groundbreaking prediction. I think the Lakers are gonna win again. They just look too good.
Do the Hawks make the playoffs?
Yeah, they don't deserve it though. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about Trae Young.
Oh, well, we got time. What are they, buddy? We're talking hoops.
I mean, I like that, he makes the Hawks relevant and exciting. Like they're fun to watch and they have a bunch of highlights. But I would rather have somebody. Oh my gosh. I would rather have somebody who doesn't, create highlights and nutmegs people and wins more games.
I mean, where are they at in the standings right now?
Number 7 or 8.
Yeah, we're 7 seed, 11 and 12, almost 500. We're trending upward. Not really, because Miami's about to get hot and be a 5 seed and make another run.
Yeah, I mean, if they make the playoffs, it's 8 or 9 seed. It's okay, that doesn't do anything for me.
I think they're botching that whole rebuild though by putting pressure on Lloyd Pierce and the GM to get in the playoffs this year. It's like you're in year 3 of Trae. You finally halfway put together a roster around his talents, and then your big free agent acquisition gets hurt. Let's be reasonable here. Why are we pushing to be a 7 seed? Let's just be as good as we can and then hopefully become, a 4 or 5 seed.
Yeah, that's what I would rather them do, but
that's the Hawks way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're Boynk and Eric for the Hawks talk.
Go back to 14 when we had, Jeff Teague and Al Horford and Kyle Korver and who's the other?
What a time to be alive.
Number 1 seed, baby.
Yeah, to get swept.
Yeah. Didn't we make it to the Eastern Conference Finals that year?
Yeah, that was 16, and then the Cavs went on and took down the Warriors too.
I mean, that would be what I could see happening if the Jazz end up being a number 1 seed. They'd be the number 1 seed, and then they go see LA, and it's like, yeah, bro, you know how this goes.
I don't think That doesn't really happen in the West. You have to play too many good teams too many times.
No, I just think I think they're good enough to beat up on the West. Like I think they're like really good. I just think what the Lakers are and what everyone else is totally different sport. They're playing different games.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I think the Lakers, even in the regular season, will get it right and take the 1 seed.
Because LeBron is like Tiger Woods on Sunday back in the day. Just motherfuckers just get in the gym with him and they like, oh. Oof. But look, man, this has been great. I really enjoyed you guys to come on and talk hoops with me. It's been amazing. And Boynk, I'm gonna need that beat.
All right.
Them Boynko beats. EB, it's been great. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, great seeing you guys.
Y'all got anything else?
Oh, man, thanks for having us on.
Yeah, always appreciate seeing you too.
All right, man. Thanks, guys.